Howdy. Yeah, let's do this for real this time, eh?
Yeah. So sorry, we had a bit of a technical issue. We did like, what was it? It was nearly an hour, and I got off and I was like, that was such a good interview with Stu. I'm so happy. It was so good. And then we was like, oh, I think there's been a technical issue. So I do apologize. Please accept my apologies.
All right, you owe me. We'll call it even after this, yeah?
Firstly, mate, how did the move go? Because you moved from what
Arizona
to Washington. So was that a big move?
Yeah, I mean, that was about a month ago now. We're all settled now, finally. Me and my girlfriend moved up together. But yeah, 3-day drive, just bombing across the middle of nowhere. Most of America, for you Brits across the pond, is the middle of nowhere. And we pretty much covered about half of it. But yeah, we got ourselves all sorted out up here. And I'm mostly working from home now. Pretty much, I'm between coaching people, sponsorships, and bodybuilding. I'm supporting myself now. So
good.
Last time we spoke, I'm pretty sure I was still working my just 9 to 5 in the construction industry.
Yep.
So I've made the leap now. So things are real good though.
Well, I mean, I spoke to Sam because Samson obviously used to work in construction, and then obviously what happened, got with Milos, and then Hostile. And things, and I mean, not working 8, 9, 10 hours a day, you are literally now a full-time bodybuilder then.
Yeah. So I got no more excuses to cut corners. It's a weird adjustment though, honestly. Like, going from this rigid, you got up at the office from here to here, and you go train after. You got to get to bed on time. I have a lot of freedom that I'm not used to now, and I don't do great with that. So I'm just gonna have to get disciplined and get myself dialed in and focused like I have been in the past, because having that structure forced on me was always good actually, but now it's all up to me. I'll figure it out though. It's just a learning process.
I always found it easier to prep when I had an office job full time, because obviously you're getting up exactly the same time. You've got to eat by a certain time, or you've got to be out the door. You're going to be late for work. And I found afterwards, going to bed at say 2, 3 in the morning, getting up at 11 instead of going to bed at 11, getting up at 6 or 7. I found actually I had with a job, I actually had like a full-time job. I had more structure. Yeah.
I always wondered, guys the full-time guys, how do they do it? People who don't even coach people. Like, what the hell do you do all day? I mean, I guess if you're trying to maximize everything, you're going getting tissue work done, and you're doing abs and cardio in the morning, just doing the whole 9 yards on everything, right? If your life's paid for, that's not where I'm at, but I still think I'd be pretty damn bored if I didn't have anything to work on. So, but yeah, like I said, I'm just getting used to it, and I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to this part of the country. You've been to the States, yeah?
Yeah, loads of times, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if you've been to the Pacific Northwest before, but it is just gorgeous. It's so pretty here. Obviously it rains all the time, which probably doesn't bother you. But it's real gray and stuff. But everything's green, everything's just lush and beautiful, and I love it here. And my parents are here, so.
Is that why you moved?
Gotta get set up. I was in the Northwest for my whole life, right up until a year and a half ago. And then I moved down to Arizona for work. And then I quickly, it took a year and a half, but I pretty quickly realized that I just don't like the desert. It's not for me. And my girlfriend didn't like it either. She's a Northwesterner too. There's just nothing out there, man. I mean, some people love it, to each their own, but honestly, where we were in Phoenix, it was just urban sprawl, dusty. Everything looks the same, just housing developments and grid streets. And, it was like a concrete jungle with more dust, which I didn't like. So I'm glad to be back. This is my home. Probably never leave again, if I'm honest.
Good. Well, I noticed you've had a haircut, mate.
Yeah.
I was like, who is this imposter? Who is he?
I kind of regret that. I probably got it trimmed a month ago now, and people don't. You're not the only person who made that comment, but I'm gonna grow it back for the shows next year. I don't think I'm gonna get rid of it again. It's just it's a pain in the ass. I mean, having that much hair, it it kind of falls out and it just gets in your eyes. It's annoying, but it's part of the brand, I guess. That's what
Yeah.
people call it nowadays. So yeah, needs must.
Yeah.
It'll be back.
Well, I was speaking to Charles Griffin the other week, and I said, because he had obviously had like a prep beard, and I said, obviously with the show coming, you're probably doing what all the other bodybuilders are going to do, and you're going to shave. And he says, no, he says, before I would have done that. He said, but I want to be me. I don't feel comfortable not being me on stage. He says, so I'm going on stage with this full beard, and he did, and he won Legion.
When he's in shape too, his cheekbones are like out to here. He is
That's crazy. Yeah.
Like that's an intimidating face. So I mean, that the beard kind of softens it a bit, which I appreciate.
Yeah. So I saw an update you posted, I think today or yesterday. I forget what body weight you said you were up to, but mate, you're looks like your off-season training is going really well.
Yeah, I'm at like 280. I was 282 this morning. So
wow.
I probably got like 5 or 6 more pounds I want to push up from here. Keep myself in pretty good shape. I was really happy with my check-ins this morning. I just sent them over to my coach. But I mean, right now the plan is to just, run the off season through like January, end of January, basically take a little break and then start prep for New York again, and then do as many shows as I need to do to qualify.
Yeah.
I figure may as well get started early. I got a good friend who lives in Oregon, actually. He's doing the New York Pro as well. It's going to be his pro debut, Ryan Foster.
Okay.
So I can't let him get away with just, competing scot-free.
Yeah.
Try and snipe him. So, yeah, I mean, my goal is to qualify next year. That might take one show. That might take 5 shows. That might take, it might not happen. So, gonna get to work. I'm planning on a long season, and hopefully I get a qualification. Looking at some of the guys who qualified this year, I think I'm pretty close to that. Mm-hmm. I wasn't outside of a first call out this year, but to get to that next level of like, yeah, this guy is the champ at this show, I need to get harder. I think my conditioning was like good at these shows, but it wasn't like lights out good. And Steve told me like in New York I got beat on condition. He wasn't judging that show, but I mean, you listen to Steve. So I think now, by the time I'll be on stage next year, I'll be 27. That's another year of muscle maturity.
Yep.
Having this tissue that I put on a lot of muscle in the last couple of years, and I've always had to kind of be careful when I'm dieting, because if I push too hard for too long without like kind of eating my way back up, I can really get stringy and wither away. And I think now that tissue's been on me longer, it should stick to me better during those long, pushes downwards where, you feel like shit, you're flat and crappy, but, that's what you need to get to that next level of conditioning. And I haven't really been able to push like that. I mean, I could have, but I think it would have hurt the overall look. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. I don't think I'll be much heavier, maybe a couple pounds, but if I can get, in the kind of condition that Ross was in at California or Tonio, that's with the shape and muscularity that I have, I think that'll be enough to push me into that. Like, yeah, he deserves to be at the O, but we'll see what happens.
Oh, you've had a fantastic. I know you did do that show last year, but you've had a fantastic first year, mate. I mean, surely you must be happy happy for this year and also excited for next year.
Well, yeah, I am pleased. Don't get me wrong, right? But like, I mean, why we're here today, we're here to talk about the Olympia, and I'm watching a bunch of my friends go, and I'm just sitting at home. It grinds my gears.
Yeah, but good though. Good. You want it to feel. Yeah. You want to feel like I can't, like raring to go for next year.
I'm pissed. Yeah, and I know that I could have edged out at some of those shows if I'd been better. So like I said, some of it's the time muscle maturity thing, but I think I'll have that next year. But yeah, I'm happy with this year. I mean, the way that it went, it allowed me to quit my day job. So like, I really asked for that. Yeah. Now I'm living where I want to live, doing what I want to do, and it's a whole new situation. But yeah, those are the things I need to work on. And I mean, shit, I'm always honest with myself. I'm not gonna. Last year, I hadn't really done a pro show, and I was like, I don't know where I'm gonna land, because I really didn't, right? And I'm never going to no offense to Nick Walker, but Nick is extremely confident, and he has every right to be, right. But like the way that I want to present myself is like, dude, this shit is so unpredictable. I can get a stomach bug 2 days out and just ruin my look, And then people are playing back videos of me like I'm gonna win, and you just got to eat your words. I prefer to avoid that, So under promise, over deliver.
I like your comments because I do actually. You're one of the few. I'll say it now. You're one of the few pros that I actually do read what you post as well, rather than just looking at the pictures and the videos.
Oh, sorry, you got to read that.
I know it's funny. It always comes across very kind of self-deprecating, almost, but humorous as well. Humble and kind of it shows humility.
I told you my mother's English, right? So I get that dry sense of humor from her, and it's just like I think it kind of goes over the heads of a lot of Americans, honestly. But it's it's an English thing, and I think that's what I do. So it's dude, the thing is, like, there's always a bigger fish, unless you're like top 5 at the Olympia and you're really vying for that spot, which I like probably will never be in that mix. It's like I'm not gonna blow smoke up my ass. I'll leave that. There's plenty of people on the internet to do that. So.
Well, I mean, it said on here, we spoke 5 months ago, and everything you said you were going to do.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, it said 5 months ago. Yeah, but it's everything you said you were going to do, you've done.
It's good. I quit my job. That's anyone can do that.
Well, I know, but the thing is, you've made the move now. You've done exactly what you said you were going to do, and also I could see it in your eyes. It's what you really wanted to do as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the job I was working was like, I never saw it as a career. I didn't want to advance in this. Like, I didn't want to go and make a bunch of money doing it because, like, it was just a job, I show up, they do it, I do what they tell me to do, and I leave, and they pay me. And it works, it allowed me to pursue the sport. It was a desk job, so I wasn't like, fucking pipe fitting or something all day, doing actual work. But I knew that I wouldn't have the balls to make this leap if I waited on the decision. And so I needed to do it in the near future after these competitions that kind of got my confidence up. And, I'm nervous now. It's like I don't have this safety net of a salary anymore. But, I believe that if I keep on doing what I'm doing in the bodybuilding world and working towards that, then things will work out. I've set myself up properly for it, so I should be okay.
I would definitely say you're probably one of the most exciting newcomers of the year, just purely from, like, say, the numbers of, like, your posing routine going online, interviews and stuff like that. You pulled good numbers. There's been a lot of interest around you this year. So, I mean, surely, with things like coaching and sponsorships, that's obviously going to benefit you, which is going to enable you to do what you're doing now.
Well, yeah, you're right. And I mean, I've seen this pattern for a while, but like, I do well in these long form things. I love doing all those podcasts before the show with like Ron Harris and whoever else, right? Mm-hmm. I really enjoy this stuff. I'm still doing a few of them. Mm-hmm. But like when I am not good at the fast paced, Gen Z kind of like TikTok bullshit social media content.
Yep.
That's not what I'm good at. I'm better at the long form stuff and the short form. And so I need to be able to translate my personality and what people like about me, minus the hair right now, sadly, into a, some format on social media that's like digestible and will make people interested and follow me. And so, that's something I got to figure out still. I'm kind of like prodding and poking and seeing what gets traction on these platforms.
Well, it's a good way to show authenticity, because long format, it's hard to, I watched Jordan Peterson doing interviews with like politicians, and very few politicians will come on because he's talking to them for like 2 hours. And you can't diff sound bites. You can't give these kind of like scripted things, because when somebody's looking at you and talking to them for that long, it's hard to hide who you really are. Do you know what I mean? So it's good to show people want to get to know you. So things like this is absolutely perfect for people to kind of, for you to pick up things like extra fans and followers and people that are really going to kind of root for you for your career.
Yeah. On top of that, I'm kind of introverted naturally. So that's a kind of a hump I got to get over, but I will,
Hmm.
it's just, like I said, I just moved up here a month ago. I'm getting settled into this new kind of lifestyle situation and, I'll get the ball rolling on all that stuff. But
Good.
I mean, enough about me. We got a cool show coming up
Yeah.
here
Let's see
in,
what you're like as an analyst, because I'm really curious to hear your thoughts, and I really want to go in depth with some of these guys. So don't be afraid, and don't be afraid to sort of. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I was getting some from a couple of different athletes, fans, because I was being really kind of direct with my predictions, not saying, oh, I think he
yeah.
could do well. I was going, okay, I've got him 5th, I've got him 6th, I've got him 7th. So sometimes you just got to get yourself in the line of fire. And like I said, it's a subjective sport at the end of the day, and it adds speculation. So I think this is why these things are always fun to do. And I love doing them.
Yeah, I mean, boy, it's hard to critique your friends, and like that's the weird.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of these guys now,
Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
some shitty amateur. I was just talking shit before. It's like no one cares what I have to say, but now I have to like go and see these guys backstage. Like, why'd you say that about me?
Do
But
they?
I when I offer predictions and analysis, if you want to call it that, like
Yeah.
I'm very diplomatic. So
Okay, well, I won't be.
all you guys,
Cool. Right. So, I mean, where do we start? Because, like personally, I think it's a 4-man race. What's your feeling? Let's go straight into who you think really, because there's I had Milos on last week, and he said there's 7 guys here that can win it.
7.
Yeah,
Whoa.
that was my response as well. I think there's 4.
Okay.
What's your feeling?
I agree. 4. We probably have the same 4. Nick, Samson,
Nope.
Derek, Hottie. Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, that was easy.
No,
Um,
no, I'm different.
Oh, what? Okay.
I don't
Excuse
have
me.
Nick
Go
in my
ahead.
top 4.
Oh, you don't? Okay. Who's in there?
Is it Hadi, Derek, Samson, and hang on, Hadi, Derek, Samson, and Brandon.
Andrew?
Brandon.
Brandon.
Yeah, I think
Oh, yeah,
I think
okay.
Brandon's going to hold into that top 4.
He looks good right now. People always fucking forget about him, because
Yep.
he's like he doesn't do a show all year, and then oh yeah, he won Mr. Olympia. We all remember like a week before the show. I have him in the top 5. I think he could be in like the 4th or 5th position.
Yeah.
But because like he's kind of like he's either flatter and harder or fuller and freaky and
Mm.
a little softer. I think the flatter and harder thing kind of I prefer that on him
Yeah.
because like he's always got the bubbliness. He's always freaky and round, right?
Mhm.
Even if he's a little bit lighter and flatter. But the same thing is true with Samson. Actually, if he doesn't have those dug out glutes and hams, which I have never seen on Samson, hamstrings yes, but glutes like no. That hardness from behind, like it kind of takes you out of the conversation a little bit in the Olympia because like that level of conditioning is just crazy, especially with Hottie, Nick, and Derek. 2 of those guys are coached by Hani.
Yep.
They don't
Yeah.
miss.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's hard to go up against. But I mean, at the same time, I wonder what to think. That's my preference as far as judging goes. But like, they gave Samson the Arnold. He was very impressive in many ways, but he lost from the back. He arguably lost from the side, and he was significantly softer. But he had that shape and overall structure that they wanted to reward. So in years past, they might not have done that, but maybe if they're pushing in a more aesthetic, streamlined. Not to say that he's streamlined and small or anything, because he's like almost 300 pounds. But
Yeah.
if they're trying to push the judging in that direction, then that could work in both Brandon and Samson's favor. Obviously against Nick, even though he's made so many improvements in that department. But yeah, it's the judging has been I won't say inconsistent, but like some of the picks at the shows earlier this year were like, okay, that's kind of what you'd expect. This is the most complete conditioned muscular guy. And then other shows, like they kind of went towards a more aesthetic kind of look. Like Justin won New York, right? Because he had some very freaky, or excuse me, not New York,
Tony.
Chicago. Yeah. well, yeah, Tonio won New York.
Yeah.
I had 30 pounds on him, literally. And like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
still gave it to him. And I see why they did.
Yeah.
Fair enough, And then Justin won in Chicago. Again, not the biggest muscularity wise and conditioning wise. He got beat by John De La Rosa, but he was, he just had these freaky poses, the little waist, the big arms, and people like that, So he's going to the Olympia. I it's kind of hard to tell. It's like trying to read the star signs as to what Steve's gonna want to see.
I personally, I think there's I mean, this is probably whether I'm right in saying this, but I feel like whoever the head judges at the show is who finally decides who wins. So if that head judge particularly likes that style of physique, or he likes, like, say you might get one head judge that likes Nick Walker, he wants freaky size, freaky condition, or they like someone with like a Samson that's not as hard, not as big in terms of like density and kind of size, but physically big, but they just like his shape. I feel like it's the head judges. It depends on what head judges at which show. Personally,
they're deciding who goes in the middle.
Yes,
and that's how all of the rest of the judges are going to look at that. They're moving people around and calling the shots. And I mean, these guys are all talking and chatting between prejudging and finals when they have lunch together. They're not talking about the baseball game. They're talking about bodybuilding because that's what they have all in common, right? So,
but one thing I'd like to ask you. Sorry to interrupt. I was talking to Ron Harris about this, and I said, do you think conditioning isn't as much of a factor as it was, say, in the 90s or in the early 2000s? Because Hadi and Derek weren't 100% bang on. I mean, in fact, that's probably the worst condition we've ever seen Hadi in at the Olympia, and he won. Like, from the back, I felt there was no separation in his shoulders. His readable bicep was quite soft, but everywhere else he was thick and chunky. Yeah. And I've noticed, like Brandon was fourth. He was only slipped to fourth, and his condition was kind of way off, really. But he looked fantastic. But I feel like, like you said, like you said, in some shows they're going for, say, a Charles Griffin who just brings absolute dry, shredded condition. Like Tonio, like 30 pounds lighter, but arguably better condition. And what's your feelings on that?
I think much more so than in years past. I don't want to compare it to the 90s necessarily, because like that's 25, 30 years ago, and like so much has changed in that time frame. I mean, the guys nowadays are literally all like 20 pounds heavier than the guys back then, except for like Dorian, Ronnie, the real big guys, right?
Yeah.
Just the size thing is way bigger now, and you don't even get looked at unless you have like something crazy like Tonio bubbly muscles or something like that. But yeah, I think I mean, if you look at the feedback from the fans in some of these comment section, and I know that opinions are like assholes, everyone has one, but it like they are fans of like the really aesthetic physiques that are still super muscular. So think Samson, right? And Samson, I mean, he still had not the same level of muscularity, but he had those impressive lines with a similar level of conditioning a few years ago, and he was in second callouts. And now I think it requires a shift in the judging criteria for a guy like that. Obviously he's way bigger too, which is a huge factor, but it requires a shift in the judging criteria for him to like bump up to like be in the conversation for a win at the Olympia. That's huge, going from second call out to like first call at the O in a couple of years. So yeah, I think they're putting a bit less of an emphasis on it, because sometimes you get physiques winning shows based on the balance of all the categories that are some people might call ugly, because he's the most conditioned, complete, muscular, but he's got a wide waist. So are you going to ignore those first three things and just reward the prettier looking guy because he's got a smaller waist? I mean, years past they didn't do that. I think they'd give it a little more to the the more complete muscular guy. But now it's like if you're trying to sell this, especially in the shadow of like classic, where all those guys are very pretty looking, it's like to avoid some of the criticism, perhaps, of saying like, "Oh, open bodybuilding is just gross. Everyone's got a gut and they don't look good." And a lot of the guys from the '90s like to throw that out there. It's disappointing to hear that, but it's they. I think things have shifted because I saw people, win shows this year that I did not expect. It surprised me. I mean, in Texas, I mean, I think Andrew justifiably won that show because he was so much bigger and aesthetic and everything compared to Hunter, even though Hunter looked as good as he ever has. But I mean, he was nowhere near the condition of Hunter. Glutes and hams, like, forget about it.
Yeah.
The side leg, there's not all the details there that Hunter has. It's like, but they still gave it to him. In the past, maybe you wouldn't even be in the conversation if you were that soft.
That's true.
But again, it depends on who's judging the show.
Going back to, I was just thinking before. I know he'd never ever say, but I'd love to know what Hani thinks when it comes to his two guys, Hadi and Derek, because obviously he's had them training together, he's seen them, he's doing their check-ins. I wonder when he wakes up every morning, he gets those check-ins. I wonder he's thinking, shit, this guy's looking this better than this guy. I mean, I'd love to know what his feelings are on who he feels could win.
Well, I'm sure he has an opinion.
Yeah, I'd love to know.
You never say it.
Yeah.
I think Hani is so focused on doing a good job with anybody who he's working with.
Yeah.
That he's not he'd never like push one guy a little better to edge him out or anything silly like that. He cares about. And my coach Blue was one of the earlier guys that Hani coached back in the day. It's like over a decade now.
Oh wow. Okay.
And they do some things kind of similar. They're both like super obsessed with like little details and just like anal focused on like little shit. Because it can matter at a certain level. And I know that Hani is just all about the job he's doing. Like he's just he might not even think about that, honestly. He's just like, how do I get this guy looking as good as he can? Because he's the best. I think he's the absolute best.
I didn't even think Bumstead could look like he did last year because obviously he switched from Ian to... I thought, okay, we've seen the best of Bumstead. He's classic. He can only do so much with his height and weight because there's a limit. And then he went and worked with Hani, and I was there, sat second row, and I was like, holy shit. It just shows you what's possible.
Yeah, and, I think a lot of that is just down to peaking, which is what Hani does better than anybody. He's super consistent with that. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he had a similar level of body fat in years past. He didn't put on like 5 years of muscle maturity in a year, because Chris trains in the off season, but he's not like pushing an off season like, an open bodybuilder is, where he's like pushing drugs and food and just like hammering himself, because he's got that autoimmune thing. He's not getting super heavy. He's got to stay pretty healthy. So the opportunity to make improvements for him is limited. You really got to like nail your prep and then really nail your peak. And Hani's, I don't know what he does. I kind of know what he does, but like it's, only he can do it.
I've heard. I spoke to Mo Foda, the Egyptian athlete he's working with. And I've spoke to.
So good. He needs to get on stage.
Yeah.
I love his physique.
Yeah.
I love his physique.
I had him on Global a few months ago, and I said, guys, watch out for this guy. Trust me, because he was good. He did it the Egypt show a couple of years ago, and I think he was top 5. But I remember him back in 2018. I was talking about him when he was an amateur. And now he's, and of course, when he works, when he starts working with someone like Hani, it's like, well, good things are going to happen. This guy is going to morph, which is exactly what he has done. So I'm going to message him, actually find out what show he's doing, because he looks like he's fine tuning for something.
Make sure it's not New York, please.
No, but sorry, you're saying.
What was I saying?
I completely forgot. I've lost my train of thought. They took me on a bit of a detail. No, I think with them. No, sorry, I was speaking to Mo and Mohammed, and he said, I got the impression that with Hani, it's not psychological, but he's very much about mindset, because look, when you talk to Phil Heath, Phil Heath is all about mindset, power the mind. And I think Hani was the one that actually instilled that in him. And I think that's what he's done with his athletes, obviously, as well as all the coaching and the diet and the posing and the training and everything else. But I feel like that's the one thing that separates him maybe a little bit more. He emphasizes more than other coaches.
Yeah, I could see that. He's able to do that because he's limited. He's working with such a limited number of people. Obviously he's running a business too, and he's like going to every goddamn bodybuilding event in the world. The guy travels a lot, but he also, he's living with like Derek and Hadi. I believe they're all living together, right?
Are they?
Well, I know Hadi stays with him.
Yeah,
right?
shit, yeah.
That's. Yeah, that's his translator right there.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, he's able to have a very small roster and like talk to these guys all the time, and just that constant communication. It's something. The communication thing is something that's like really important, that I've experienced with my coach, because I'll get on the phone when I'm in prep probably a couple times a week, and we're just talking about the prep and whatever other bullshit things come up that you might not have told him over a text message or an email or something like that, because you're just kind of like talking through stuff, and it works better when you're actually just like talking to somebody, and let alone living with them. So, the results speak for themselves. He's got when's the last time you remember someone out of shape that Hani coached?
No, yeah, exactly.
I don't think it's happened.
Well, I was at the Superstar seminar at the Sunday after the Olympia last year, and as they were walking out, Hani was walking out with Chris, and I went up to Hani. I said, "Mate, well done." I said, "Congratulations." And he said, "I couldn't have hoped for a better result. 1 and 2 in the Open, and then he won the Classic. For the 4th year with Chris Bumstead." So, I'll put you on the spot now. Can Hadi repeat this year?
Hadi, yeah, I think he can. I think like there was a ton of hype around Derek. Maybe I'm feeding into it again this year. Like, there was a ton of hype last year too, because he's got these gigantic legs and stuff, and they kind of he loses some pop in the last couple of weeks. And a few years ago we thought maybe that was just because he was sucking down for 212 to make weight, but he's continued to have that issue, where his quads were not as impressive as Hadi's were. His chest and delts were not as impressive as Hadi's were. So he's losing a little something in that peaking process, when he looks like the world beater in the gym and all these pictures we've been seeing. He looked pretty damn good last year too. So there's still a chance that he might miss that fullness, like in the chest and the quads and so forth. Maybe to get to the level of conditioning that he's in, that he gets to, like, he has to lose that. So it might be a balancing act for him. But yeah, like you said, Hadi was soft for Hadi last year. Yeah. From the front, super hard. From the back, though, I think part of it was the awful timing that they had at the Olympia last year. I'm sure you
think about it, right? Apart from Nick, I said this last week to Ron Harris. I said, actually, if we're going to be brutally honest here, at the Olympia, apart from Charles Griffin and Nick Walker, who was really, really in condition?
Yeah, night one, it was kind of a shit show. Yeah. They were on like an hour and a half, 2 hours after they're supposed to be, because they were waiting for all the other goddamn divisions to finish up.
Which is 4 hours. 4 hours.
4?
No, the reason I know that is because I spoke to William Bonac, and he said they were supposed to be, they said, okay, be backstage for 6 o'clock, ready to go on stage at 7. Now, what time did they go on? 11 o'clock? It was late. It was about 11 o'clock by the time, because I remember it was about half 10, 11 o'clock. I was there, we were there. So imagine trying to peak with water and everything, thinking, right, okay, with food, these big guys, they need to eat, you know what I mean? And they can flatten fast, like the bigger they are, I feel like the flatter. I remember Dennis Wolf and Jay Cutler, they said they need to eat every couple of hours or they can flatten out big stuff. I've seen Dennis Wolf come out at the start of the prejudging, look sensational. Half an hour later, he looks like he's completely disappeared.
Yeah.
So imagine that's in half an hour. So imagine what 4 hours could do. And there was no room backstage to lie down and stuff like that. And I heard that somebody said on the comments said that they were told to go outside. When
and it was freezing. There was just no room. I was friends with Melissa Tyke, who competed in the women's physique Olympia last year.
Yeah.
You know her?
Yeah. Fantastic.
She and her husband are amazing. Sweetest people ever. Anyways, they were backstage and she was in women's physique, so she would have gone on before all the bodybuilders. But, if everything's getting stretched out, I think that's where that 2 hour number came from in my head. But who's going to hit their peak? Like, nobody is. So if they run things properly, like this year, and I think they can because they're doing it in Orlando, and that convention center, I believe, is the same one they used for nationals last year.
Okay.
Which, if it is, it's a huge, huge center, tons of space for everybody, the fans, the competitors. It shouldn't be a problem, assuming, not idiots are running the show.
Sorry, I don't think there was even room for them to lie down and put their feet up on the walls or something. There was no room. I can't imagine how stressful that was for them.
Yeah, that convention center in Orlando, if I'm thinking of the same one, is massive though.
Yeah.
It's tons of space. So that should not be an issue any year, but it shouldn't be an issue this year. And assuming we see that, because Hadi came back and he was more himself day 2, if I'm remembering correctly. Yes. He still wasn't as stripped out as Derek was in the glutes and hams probably, but I think if I like that more conditioned look on him because he's older, he's got that maturity, and I think that's one of his strengths. That was always, he whipped people at open shows when he was a 212 guy.
Yeah, I was there. San Marino.
San Marino?
I was there.
I was thinking I think it was the Vancouver show.
Yes, 2019. 2019.
Just nasty looking, So
yeah.
If he shows up looking like that, then I don't think Derek can beat him just because of, if Derek still has those lacking spots fullness wise, then, because muscularity wise, as freaky as Derek is, he's not as dense as Hadi is. Especially in the back double bicep and the back lat spread. I think even though he was softer, Hadi was more impressive in those poses because he just has just shitloads of muscle up and down his spine. It's it looks like it's 4 inches thick. It's sick, right? Derek is wider, maybe a little prettier, but there's no arguing with that. That comes from picking up heavy weight off the ground. We know Hadi trains crazy heavy, right?
Yeah. I felt like Derek and Hadi were very, very equal from the back, but I felt from the side and the front, I felt that's where Hadi really shut the door. But when Hadi first came out, I was sat with Steve Bleckman, sat all next to all the photographers, right behind the judges. And as soon as Hadi came out and he turned to the back, Steve went, Hadi's off. I was like, okay, then who's going to win? Who else is going to win? And then by the end of the prejudging, he sharpened up a lot. And that was on day 1. So by day 2, like you said, it was more like the Hadi of old. But the thing is, Hani said that Hadi last year was 10 pounds heavier. Now, you could probably take off 4 or 5 pound of, for condition. But, 5 pound on a guy that, 5'6", 5'7" maximum?
Yeah.
It's and he's already pretty stacked the last 3 years, So, it's...
Quick side note, all of the top 3 last year was 5'6".
Yeah.
Think about that. I mean, Nick says he's 5'7", but I've heard that he's 5'6", I think. So,
Nick fans are going to come for us both there.
I can't hide that. But he is going to be 260, which is sick at that height.
It's incredible.
I think he said he's going to be 10 pounds, 12 pounds heavier, or maybe more than he was at the Arnold. I think it was 249 there.
Wow.
So, I mean, if he shows up in that kind of conditioning, then let's talk about Nick, because he won't like it if we don't.
Can we just get some perspective on Nick? If you think about Sean Ray was 5'7" and 200 pounds. Nick's 5'6", 5'7", and 250, 260. I mean, that just. Yeah. I mean, like I say, I kind of got the hype for Nick and Hunter when I saw them in the flesh last year at the Olympia. I was like, okay, I get it a lot more now. I see why people are so excited about these two guys.
Yeah, the only time I've ever seen Nick in person was in Tampa last year. And this is like a year and a half ago now. But, he was 300 pounds at that point.
Wow.
And I'd never seen somebody so wide. Uh, it was sick. And Hunter is the same way. Like you said, in person, these guys are way more impressive.
Yeah.
It doesn't compute on a screen because you've never actually seen something that big in real life. But yeah, Nick. So let's talk about Nick. I think Nick is set up to do a Dexter Jackson here, 2008, where if he catches anybody slipping, and it would require multiple people to slip, which I think the likelihood is low since Hani is coaching, our top two picks probably. I think that probability is low, but we know he's going to be freaky and huge. We know he's going to be super conditioned because he always is. He doesn't have like some of the lines and striations that these other guys do, but conditioning is conditioning. You can tell when someone's skin is thin, and that's generally how they judge these shows. So if people slip, then he's going to jump places. I mean, that's kind of what he's done throughout his whole career at the Olympia. There's like 4 or 5 people behind him that should be beating him handily, genetically speaking. They got better shape, they've got better structure, all this stuff, but they're not in shape or they missed their peak or whatever. He's made a incredible career out of beating people he shouldn't.
Can Nick beat Samson? Because I know it was close at the Arnold. A lot of people felt that Nick had that one rightfully, and there's 2 completely different styles of physique.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Samson will be doing well this year if he can just stay ahead of someone like Nick and Andrew Jacked. I said to him, if you can just stay ahead of Andrew Jacked, you'll win the Olympia eventually. I think either this year or next year you'll win it. Because I see those 3, Nick, Samson, and Andrew, as kind of, it could go either way at the Olympia with those 3 guys. What's your feeling?
Yeah, I agree. I'm not so sure about Andrew because he hasn't quite reached the level of conditioning that... Well, actually, no. He was close at the Arnold to Samson. He was much fuller in Texas, bigger. But yeah, those guys are kind
He's improving.
Oh yeah, they all are.
Yeah.
Which makes this so exciting. Have you seen those pictures of Samson from a few weeks out of the Arnold to now? I don't know what Milos is putting in his Cheerios, but that is. He has not stopped growing all year. And this is with a prep for the Arnold and then a prep for the Olympia. He's put on significant amounts of tissue this whole damn time. I don't know if I this is speculation, but I recall him talking at one point about he'd never used Tren before. He's been very mild with certain drugs.
I've heard that.
So because he's Nigerian, he can get away with it, Those guys are just freakish. But, imagine he starts using those things. What happened to Ronnie when he started taking drugs?
Yeah.
What happened to Ronnie when he started working with Chad?
Yeah. Bumped up the food, bumped up the gear, and then poof.
Yeah, it's all it takes. He starts doing even, 2/3 of what everyone else is doing. And, I mean, you're off to the races.
That's smart.
If he's been pushing hard like that all year, hopefully within some reasonable bounds, health-wise, a guy like that is just going to respond because he's never pushed like that before.
Samson, I spoke to Samson, it was about 6 months ago. I said, Samson, mate, do you stay on top of your blood work? And then he sent me these long messages saying, tomorrow I'm actually going, I'm getting full blood work. He says, I've come off everything. I check before, during, after. He said, I get everything checked. He said, I get it done several times a year. And I was like, okay, that's all I need to hear because that's really reassuring because, because thing is, it's almost kind of the pressure's on Samson because since he won that Prague show in November 21 at 270, it was like the Arnold Classic when he got 4th, 280. Then he was at the Olympia, was it 290 something? And then, and he just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's almost the pressure's on him now to kind of really deliver. I mean, I think I feel personally like there's more pressure on Samson than any other athlete going into the show.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for him like that because he's such a likable guy.
Yeah,
he's I don't want the vile comments of the bodybuilding fans to hurt this man. He's so sweet.
Yeah,
he doesn't deserve to be pressured like that. But I think he's finally stepped it up to doing what some of us do. And it's good to hear that he's on top of his shit. blood work wise. He's not super young though. He's in his mid 30s, right?
I've got 37 in my head for some reason.
37?
I don't know whether that's
Okay.
right, but that's just popped into my head.
I thought 37, 38 too, which, you've had guys winning the Olympia in their early 40s. So,
Sean Roden, 43.
Right. And, Brandon Curry won when he was like 40 something, right?
No. He was 40 last year, so he would have been 30.
Oh, okay.
He would have been now 38 when he won the Olympia.
Okay. I didn't realize that. I thought he was older.
Because him and Bonac turned 40 last year, and Sean Clarida. All three of them turned 40 last year, so they're around about the 41 mark.
Okay.
Now,
man, Sean does not look like he's 40. That's cool. Anyways, if he can put on that tissue that he needs to, pushing in like this last year or two, and then just kind of back off, because I don't think he needs tons of drugs running into a show. I don't think that is a guy who loses muscle when he's dieting hard, if I had to guess. He's anytime someone's at that age range and you see them start blowing up, or you get stressed. I get worried seeing that. But hopefully he's got good people in his corner, and he's checking his boxes and minding his business. Aside from that, what can you do at the Olympia? The thing, it kind of harkens back to that question we were having about like what direction is the judging going? Because I was in the camp that thought Nick could have won that Arnold. I think he won more poses, and his conditioning was just so far ahead of both Andrew and Samson that, in my opinion, you won most of the categories there. You checked most of the boxes. You should be the winner.
Nick's never been off. Nick's never been off, has he? That's and for a conditioning guy, and especially what happened last year with the lateness, he seemed to be the only one in the top 10 that was unaffected.
Yeah. I think Matt's got him pretty figured out at this point, which is great. People were talking all this shit like, oh, you were too flat and small at the Arnold. Like, dude, no, he was not flat and small at the Arnold. He was slightly smaller than the Olympia, right? Maybe a few pounds lighter, but like he wasn't small. Muscularity-wise, I think he, from the back, he mopped up from both those guys. From the front, it was real close to his Achilles heel, though, is his quads, and it's so crazy because he's got gigantic legs. Yeah, but he doesn't have the pop to it because of just the way that his quads insert. I think he's improving them. He looks really good in poses that he looks better in a lineup with poses featuring his quads, like the front double, for example, than he does on his own. Because, you realize when he's in a lineup next to like Hunter or Samson, maybe not Samson, Samson's got crazy quads, but like, he's got the muscularity there. He's got the size. He doesn't have the pretty shape and sweep and stuff, but it's like they're big, they're taking up a lot of space on stage. So that's not going to hurt him as much as in a lineup as if he's standing on his own, because it looks a little off when he's on his own, which is not really something you can solve, unfortunately. But again, the overall flow, it's got to go to Samson. It's got to go to Andrew. This is just going to be a question of what do they go with, man? Because if Samson is on, Samson's been getting more conditioned over the last few shows we've seen him at, but it's still not like Olympia winner kind of conditioning. It's still nowhere near Nick's.
Do you feel it's conditioning that's like, if say Samson comes in a condition we've never seen before, do you think that'll have the knockout punch that will actually help him win it?
Yeah. I mean, what happened with Ramy? Ramy finally got shredded and he won the Olympia a couple times.
Yes, yeah.
And there's another
Sean Roden
physique that's kind of like that. Yeah, Sean too. Well, Sean was always pretty conditioned, right?
But
he was really hard.
Well, that year he won. He came in 10 pounds lighter than he'd ever been.
Oh no shit! Really?
Yeah, he came down to 238. Because I spoke to Stanimal and he said, you know what? He said it's funny how Ramy needed to drop 20 pounds to lose the Olympia, because he was coming in like 305, and then he drops down to like 280, 290 something, and he wins the Olympia. Sean Roden drops 10 pounds, wins the Olympia. So say if Samson, I mean, I asked Milos last week, and I said, I've heard a rumor that you're going to bring Samson down to about 290 and bring him in really dry and shredded. And he says, we're not looking, and his response was, we're not looking at the scale. He didn't say yes or no, but he just, that's what he said. So I don't know whether he was alluding or diverting from the question, but he wouldn't give me a straight answer.
I remember going into the Arnold, I don't follow Samson closely, but I think like he hadn't weighed himself in like weeks. He was just sending pictures to Milos, and they were going off with a look and pushing him down and so forth. And then he finally hopped on the scale, and he was like 290. You know, like,
but you're like, wow,
that's a pleasant surprise.
Yeah,
I look like this at 290. If only, man. But yeah, you know, I had no idea Shawn was so light when he won the O. That's you know, it's kind of a pattern. Guys keep on winning shows when they're lighter.
People said Phil Heath looked his best in the first year when he was at his lightest. You know,
I mean, yeah, it's kind of a taste thing. He was extremely, like, he was getting to the unbeatable point by like title 5, 6.
Yeah,
you know, like everything was so developed that you couldn't beat him in a single pose. But the thing that hurt him was the hernia, right?
It was.
The waist control,
I was there.
The shoulder impingement.
I was there 16, 17, and 18. And I felt it was quite an unpopular decision when he won, even when he won in 2016, and in 2017, you know, I mean, I don't think Ramy even came close. I felt Bonac was second there, but the stomach thing was starting to become an issue. Right, I want to ask you something I asked Milos last week.
Okay.
Who is the athlete in the Open that's going to have the biggest jump up?
Ooh.
In terms of placings, do you know what I mean? Like, say if we say you say Samson's going to win, that's from 6th to 1st. Who do you think will jump up the most? And that's not just restricted to the top 6 guys.
Well, who's coming back? I mean, so there's where did Michael Krizo place last year? It was like 9th or something.
That's my choice. He was 12th last year.
12th. Oh my gosh, I thought he was top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a guy who's like, he was a little bit off the Olympia. I think now that, you know, you have some names who have left that beat him last time, like Ian. I think he looks incredible. You know, if a guy like Nick Walker is winning or getting close to winning the O, with just, you know, basically a combination of freaky body parts and conditioning, a guy like Krizo can do the same thing if fair look. He's tall too, which is you know. Got that on Nick, but he's still got this, like, pretty close to the same level of muscularity and arguably better shape through the midsection. Like I'm trying to think, like, maybe his glutes and hams are weak. He's got a tiny ass. Like that's not.
To be honest, I didn't even notice because I felt like when he turned up to Spain, he was so. I didn't expect him to make those, like with Samson, those last couple of years, every single show. I didn't kind of expect him to improve that fast. Like his conditioning, his tanning, his posing. Because I was there doing the live stream with Lauren at the EVS last year. And I was wandering around the kind of mini expo in the morning. And this was 2 hours before the show started. And Krizo turns up in a t-shirt and he's white as a ghost. And I was God. Oh no. So literally he's like on stage and his tan was... Like, because his arm,
when he was sweating, right?
Because his arms are so big. Every time he moves his arm to side chest, it rubbed the tan off his lats.
Oh my God!
So it's like I was like, why? I said that this isn't like a high level show. The guy, no disrespect to the guys, but he should have been coming in and winning that show easily, and he could have lost it through stupid things. But my point is, when he went to Spain, the tanning was perfect. The conditioning was at a whole new level. The hamstrings, the back. I mean, it looked like a completely different guy to what I saw in Prague.
Yeah. So, you know, running into the show last year, he was talking a lot of shit. You know, he was the new guy. He's talking a lot of shit in broken English, which I think is hilarious. I love it when guys do that. You know, they don't speak the language and they're still throwing shots at people.
Yeah.
But, you know, he got 12th. He kind of got, you know, is put in his place a bit. Yeah. And then I remember watching a video of him after the show, and he was very complimentary to all the people who beat him. He was like a good sport all of a sudden. I think he was just, you know, he was having fun jabbing at him before. I don't think there's bad blood with any of these dudes, but, you know, I think he was like the undisputed champ in the Elite Pro League, you know? So that could go to your head a bit. And, you know, then you get 12th at the Olympia. and would probably get beat by people who you should be beating. So, and then he shows up in Spain, mops up that show handily,
Yep.
looking way better than he did when he qualified the first time. And he's probably put his head on straight. He's like, okay, I have a shot here now. And he qualified a while ago. People have such short memories in this sport. They're forgetting about the really good bodybuilders who qualified earlier in the year, like Crizzo, like Tonio. I mean, Tonio's a top 10 guy, I think.
I didn't think that before, but you know what? I looked at he put an update on the other day just of his back, because I know he's put lots of updates, because he has really improved since he went to open. I felt like his back shots, his readable bicep is like, it's almost like Dexter Jackson level. It's incredible.
It's so unfair, man. Dude, it's just like the way that everything fits together is incredible. It looks so goddamn good. I'm very jealous, but he's got like that roundness and pop to him that makes him look 20 pounds bigger than he is, even though he's a shorter guy. And I think people are totally sleeping on him. He looks significant. I remember going into New York and I was watching this guy because I kind of figured like this is going to be the guy to try and beat there. I was wondering if he was going to be in shape. He did end up being in shape, but like he did not look as hard a week out from the New York show as he does right now. He's dug out right now. I think his new coach, Jacoby, he appears to have done a very good job with him so far. So compliments to him. And he is like, the skin on his glutes and hams and stuff is like nasty looking. So I think he's gonna, beat people just on shape and freakiness and conditioning there. He nails it there.
I wouldn't be shocked if he's top 10. Before, I didn't think he'd be a top 10 guy, but now I'm thinking, here's a guy who could, especially with Nathan being out, I think here's a guy that could get 8th to 10th, I think. So I'm going to pin you down. Where do you think Crizzo could place?
I think he could get up to 6th or 7th.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so that would be a jump of 5 places.
Yeah, I think 7th. I think 7th.
We're talking about Tonio here. Tonio was dead last year.
Yeah,
because he was off. He missed that peak. I think he didn't look his best. But this year he's just like, he looks so much better coming into this, and I think he could. Like I said, if he's a top 10 guy, that's a jump of 6-7 places potentially.
Well, there was 30 guys in there last year. There's 18 this year. So I think if he he's, if he goes top 10, which I think is conceivable. I think there's 2 or 3 guys, because my top 8 is quite solid, but there's like 2 or 3 guys that I think could, that in my head that I think could squeeze in that top 10, and he's one of them.
Who's the other guys?
Charles Griffin.
Okay, yeah,
I think could be top 10. Regan, I'm not sure.
I'm a little biased. I'm not a fan of Regan's physique. Oh, I like how do I put this? Regan should be way further along than he is right now. And I don't know what it is, because I guess he was a little bigger this year, but he still kind of had the same level of conditioning as he has in the past.
Yeah.
And, he doesn't have that hardness, that density to him. And that's why, Nathan beat him twice, to be clear.
Yeah.
Regardless of qualifications. So I don't know. He's a guy who can pretty handily show up and win a seasonal show throughout the year and qualify, but I don't think he's ever been in the top 10 at the O. He's been a few times now, right?
Yeah. No,
I'm trying to think and
I think he's only done one. He did the Classic Olympia in, I want to say 2018, 2019, and he didn't look very good. He didn't look good there. And then obviously that when he went back to Open, which I was happy about. And I think because I said, has he even done an Olympia? And then somebody on the comments said, no, he has done one Olympia in 21. I think it was 2020 or 21 or something. And he was like 14th, 15th. So, I'd have to.
He's been yo-yoing, he's, 5 years ago, he was doing Classic. Yeah. He went to Kuwait and he was like, I don't want to be this big. So he sucked down to Classic. And then he was like, oh, I don't like this. And he's going back up. And I don't follow the guy closely because honestly, I think I've seen enough at this point where if you were going to strike gold, it probably would happen by now, I say that even though, Samson a few years ago, like we were talking about, wasn't a factor.
Yeah.
So anything can happen. But
Mate, I just wrote an article on Samson in MD last issue, and I said, look, I'm a friend of Samson's. I've stayed at his house. You know, he's been here. He's been sat in the studio. I said, and it's not that I didn't think that he could get to where he's got now. I just didn't think he'd get there as quickly.
Yeah.
You know, and then Milos says, he was like joking with me, calling me a Samson hater and stuff because I doubt. It's like you saying, he was teasing me, saying I was doubting him. I was like, no, it's not like I doubted him. I just didn't think it was possible for someone to really go from just, you know, slightly doing that, it's like second call out guy, to voomph, you know, holy shit, what just happened?
Especially at the age that he's at, you know, mid to late 30s. That's surprising. Yeah. But I guess so every once in a while that happens. You know, you'll have a guy who you think is like matched out at cruise control, doing decent in the pro league, and then all of a sudden he just pops up. Boom. Like, I mean, Bonac, Brandon Curry.
Yeah.
You know, they made a change, and, you know, all of a sudden they're factors.
Yeah.
So, you know, it happens from time to time. It's just not what you expect.
Okay, the next name I want to throw at you is Hunter Labrada. You okay? Don't worry about it. Sorry, it's cats at the door. Hunter Labrada, what's your opinion?
Well, I like Hunter a lot. I used to be kind of a Hunter hater, honestly. You know, I was like the last couple of years, I was like, oh, he got gifted those positions. You know, he was too soft, and, you know, like he's got a torn pec. I was running all my mouth about all that shit. And then I actually met Hunter, and he's the nicest guy ever.
He is.
And then he shows up in Tampa looking as good as he ever has. Like, I don't think he had been really dug out and conditioned prior to this year. Maybe in Chicago that year that he won. That was his second year he qualified, right? Like his glutes and hams were pretty sharp there, but like, you know, the other showings he's had weren't, you know, he was still a little soft. I don't know if it was fat or water, but he was peeled. You know, he was peeled at these shows, and that's what we've all been waiting for, or that's what I've been waiting for. So I'm a super Hunter fan now. And
totally turned around.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so I have him probably top six.
Wow, top six.
And I think, God, this is why I hate doing predictions, because I have to like find slots for everybody, and then
because otherwise you'll have 15 guys in your top three, mate.
I hate it.
Thing is, but so, when you pin people down, it's actually I think we're all just naturally reluctant to say he will be second, he will be third, he will be top. But thing is, like, you can't say I've got 10 guys in my top five. Sometimes you have to kind of really. I mean, I'll be honest. I'll say it now. I've got him around 8th. I think Chris will be 7th, and I think the top 6 is pretty locked in for me.
Okay. Yeah. I'm capable of throwing out predictions, like solid predictions. I just have to throw a giant caveat about, like, I don't know shit, and
I know. Well, tell you what. Give a best case and a worst case scenario. I think Samson could be 1st to 5th. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If we look at it objectively, so where would you have Hunter, best in case, worst case scenario?
Well, I think he is. I don't think he will beat Andrew again. Just because he like that. I think apparently, according to the judges, they were very close in Texas, but based on the pictures and we talked. Yeah. Really?
I didn't think so. No, I didn't think it was close. I thought Andrew had it.
I didn't.
And I'm accused. Last year, I was being accused of being an Andrew Jack hater. So now, you know, so it swings and roundabouts, mate.
Well, I thought the same thing when I saw the pictures of that show. But according to Tyler, they were very, very close, a point or two apart at prejudging. And then they just posed the shit out of him at finals. And Hunter kind of popped first. So they gave it to Andrew. I think that's how it went. That's what I've been told, at least. Okay. So I don't know if, you know, again, we've been talking about how the judging is going, what direction they're leaning. You know, I think Hunter beats a guy like Andrew on the conditioning, the muscularity, even the proportion, balance and everything. But just the overall impressiveness thing is a big factor this year. And, you know, a guy like Samson and a guy like Andrew win there because they just take up so much space and they're so freaky looking. So, you know, maybe he doesn't win that battle. I don't think he can beat a guy like Brandon Curry. So I guess, yeah, maybe he's falling back to like sixth or seventh now. I think he can beat Crizzo, though.
Do you?
I'm not sure why I think that. Maybe
No,
I'm
that's
just
fair enough. That's fair enough.
maybe
That's
it's
fair
a
enough.
fanboy. I think he kind of fits together a little better than Crizzo.
Okay.
Like the flow is a little better,
Hmm.
especially in like yeah, that's such a big part of a physique. Like, how do you fit together? How do your body parts look relative to other body parts? And I think that he's super dense and muscular, and he's got like his poses just look pretty.
Okay.
They're proportionate, and some of Crizzo's don't. Some of his poses look a little awkward. Like, I know his like his side chest. He's kind of like he looks like his lower body is sticking out in front of him a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not sure how to describe that properly, but yeah, I think he just has a prettier look.
Yeah.
And if they're both in condition, um, Crizzo is a little taller, but I think Hunter LeBron is also American, so
I don't think there's much difference in height. Maybe an inch or two at most. Because I didn't realize how tall Hunter is. Isn't Hunter like nearly 6 foot?
No, he's like
he is. Isn't
no,
he?
he's shorter than me. I'm 5'8".
No.
Yeah,
Hunter's like 5'10", I'm sure.
I should look at that picture of the two of us at the Emerald Cup when we were guest posing this year.
Okay.
I mean, I got about an inch and a half of hair on him.
Yeah.
I was still like a little taller than him.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I'm like 5'8 1/4".
Okay, so that's complete nonsense then. He's because Crizzo's like I've got a picture of me next to Crizzo at the after party last year in Prague, and he's like 6'1", 6 foot. He's huge.
Yeah,
he's a giant.
Tall.
What?
Yeah. Just remember, all bodybuilders lie about their heights and weights and their drug dosage.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So I'm going to throw a couple of final questions at you before I let you go, mate. Can I pin you down on your top 3, or do you want to shy away from that? Go on. Come on.
I can do the top 3.
Come on then. We've analyzed it in depth now. Come on.
I've been thinking about this a lot. Yeah. Okay. I have Derek first.
Okay.
I have faith that Hani's going to nail it with him, and he's going to have that fullness up front and the same craziness from the back, conditioning wise, width. And I mean, bigger picture, I think Derek is, they want to give Derek the title. If you're the IFBB, right, you got this handsome golden boy, young guy. Yeah, I mean, he's even, a devout Christian. What's not to love about this dude as an ambassador of the sport?
Wholesome.
Yeah, it's like it checks all the boxes,
Yeah.
But you could have made the same argument last year, but I mean, he still didn't win.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's my pick for first. Second, I have Hadi, and partially out of fear that he'll get mad at me, I have Nick in third.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that. I thought you'd say that.
Yeah, yeah. I think Nick is. Dude, I know better than to count that guy out. I didn't have him in. Who the hell had him in third last year? I mean, going into the show. But I couldn't really argue with the placing when it was all said and done. It was like, yeah, the guy beat a lot of dudes he shouldn't have again. It keeps happening. So he's super focused. He's super conditioned. He's super consistent. Like, he is a safe bet. I think. A lot of these other guys, Samson, doesn't have as consistent of a track record. He's going to be more impressive probably, but maybe doesn't nail his conditioning like he needs to. I think Nick is the safe pick for third.
Okay.
Obviously, if guys come correct, there's a lot of people who can knock him out of there. Brandon Curry, Samson. But he's my pick.
Okay, I'm going to ask you for the rest of your top 6 now. Sorry.
All right.
Okay.
I did this last week with on another podcast.
Do you know what? My mind's changed. Like I've written in the magazine actually. I said, okay, I'm being pretty certain about the top 10 all year long, pretty much. And just at this last minute, I think I'm starting to change my mind almost every day now.
Yeah, because you're talking to all us idiots,
and it's not even because I'm seeing, and it's not even because I'm seeing many updates or anything. Because everyone's kind of gone quiet, but for some reason I'm going, okay, I got Hadi winning, okay, I got Samson winning, I got Derek winning, okay. It's like I literally, I'm starting to change my mind almost daily at the moment, and it's getting stressful.
Yeah, I do not have Samson winning. I'll be honest. Okay. I think his back is still like it keeps on improving, right? We've talked about like how much muscle he's been putting on recently. It's crazy to see. But his back is still it doesn't have the same kind of shape that Derek and Hottie's does, and it just doesn't have the density that they have. Okay. Like just top to bottom, everything complete and super conditioned. He doesn't have that yet. And maybe he's one of these guys who will just never have it. But maybe it's a matter of time. I don't think this year is going to be enough there. But I do have. Are we doing the rest of the top 6 now?
Please.
Okay. I have 4th place Samson, 5th place Brandon Curry, and 6th place either Hunter or Crizzo, I think.
Okay.
Honestly, 5th place is like
what about Andrew?
The question mark. Or yeah, right. So you have like Hunter, Frizz. I didn't even think about Crizzo until recently. You have Hunter, Crizzo, Brandon, and Andrew. Yeah. And all those guys are kind of in the mix there. I thought Andrew was a shoo-in to beat Hunter until I talked to some people and I realized how close it was in Texas, apparently, according to the judges.
Okay, that's interesting.
I agree with you. I think those pictures were just like, it was overpowering. You know, it was like a man with a child. No offense to Hunter.
No,
like,
so
freaking big. Have you ever seen him in person?
I'm 6'1", and I was looking up to him. I mean, and when I saw him even though he was off at the Olympia last year, when he walked out on stage, I was like, holy shit. It was like something out of Jason and the Argonauts. It was like it was just this like imposing, even like I said, even though he wasn't like in his best condition, like even when they were stood in the lineup, my eyes were just drawn to him. He had such an incredible structure.
Yeah. So he still doesn't have the muscularity and like some of the sweep to his quads and hamstrings and stuff that he kind of needs to box out some of the more, the shorter guys, really. That's because he's so much taller that he struggles with that. Yeah. But yeah, when I won the USAs in 22, I was at the Dragon's Lair the day afterwards, and he was getting ready for Texas, the first Texas he did.
Okay, cool.
In 22. And it was, dude, I swear to God, white men, their muscles do not move like his. He hit like a quarter turn, and like his whole pec would be like rippling off like 4 or 5 inches in front of his sternum. It like I'd never seen anything like that. Wow, cool. It just moves different. It's bizarro. Yeah. But yeah, again, he, in a lineup, he lacks some of the density in like the quads. He doesn't lack muscle there. He's just so damn tall. So he doesn't have the crazy sweep. He doesn't have the big hamstring drop like some guys do. So as far as like pushing into like the top 3, 4 for him, it's going to be tough. Samson bizarrely has like crazy sweep and hamstring drop for a tall guy.
His legs are silly, aren't they? From the side, yeah. I said Samson, I said you look like a racehorse from the side.
Yeah,
the back legs of a racehorse. That's what I think of when he does that. When he turns to the side and he shows that how much. I mean, I swear those legs must weigh 100 pounds each.
Yeah, probably. But that's something completeness wise that he has that Andrew does not. So. Yeah. I think he's a solid in front of Andrew. But yeah, that 5th place is tricky for me. And I don't want to even try further back than 5th or 6th. Okay, fair enough. Because I just start losing track of things. So
final. Sorry, go
on. To final thoughts. I mean, shit's exciting, man. The last couple of years have been super exciting.
Yep.
It was like a whole new crew of people last year. Besides Hottie, it was in the top 3. It was like, things are really interesting. Things are up for grabs. It's not like I think Derek will win eventually, if not this year, then very soon. And once that happens, it's going to be hard to knock him off. But in the meantime, shit's still really interesting. You know, it's there's so much hype for this, so I love it. I'm kind of as bummed as I am to not be competing at the show. I'm glad I get to sit back and watch it because it's going to be it's going to be very interesting. So
like I said, you're 27 now.
26.
26. Come on, mate. You got plenty of time. How old was Derek Lunsford? Because I saw him win Tampa in 2017. I was there.
Yeah, I think he turned pro when he was 24
the week
in
before.
2017.
Yeah, the week before. So imagine, so imagine being pro in the July. The next week you win your first 212 Pro show. Then you go to the Olympia and make top 5 and you get Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Like all in the space of what? Hang on, is that July to bloody September, October, like 3-4 months. I mean, you got like Olympia, you got like an Olympia trophy, and like a few months before you're thinking about turning pro. Do you know what I mean? So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So, quick question: who's winning the 212?
Oh, God, it's the easy answer is Sean. Kamal's not doing it.
No.
Right?
No.
Kamal's out. I still don't think that Keon has the density and the conditioning, even though he was more conditioned he won the Texas this year, yeah?
He did.
Yeah, okay. So he was definitely better this time, but I still don't think he's quite hard enough to knock off Sean, because Sean is just like, he's skinless. He's one of those interesting examples of like a really dark skinned black guy who's also got really thin skin.
Yeah.
As opposed to someone like Samson, worst example would probably be Akeem, who's he's just like he just doesn't have that. So yeah, muscularity wise, I just don't think anyone touches him. I really like that Spanish guy too, though.
Angel
Calderon. Yeah, he's got a mean-looking face too.
He's the nicest guy, mate. He's the nicest, smiliest guy ever. Yeah.
Yeah, of course he is. But yeah, they're. You're asking me about something I don't really know much about. That's my cop-out answer, Sean again.
Well, I was going to say with Sean, I mean, actually, once you've seen him in the flesh, when you look at photos, I find it's a disappointment because he is so mind-blowing. When you see him in the flesh, it's like, holy shit. And I looked down at photos I was like, oh, it's not as impressive. But then you look in with your eyes and you're like, wow. So I don't see anyone beating Clarita this year, personally.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so hard to like explain that to bodybuilding fans when they're looking at pictures on Instagram of their favorite competitors, and they've never been to pro shows. And this was me until very recently. I've never seen these guys. I mean, the first pro show I ever went to was Tampa last year.
Really?
When I competed there. Yeah, I'd never seen pro bodybuilders in real life, so I was like, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to communicate the scale and not in Sean's case the scale, because he is small compared to a lot of guys, but like the 3D-ness, the pop, like that je ne sais pas that makes a guy look next level. It doesn't come across in pictures. So let's see. Does that cover the Olympia?
Stuart, you get a gold star for being an absolutely fantastic analyst, because that was really like, I was really like, okay, I hope this is going to be like a 10-minute thing where he's kind of skirting over the issues. You've really gone into a lot of depth there, mate. A lot of detail. I'm really impressed with your way of analyzing, mate. It's incredible.
I can't make up my mind. That's why. That's why
we're all in the same boat, mate. We're all in the same boat.
Throwing a bunch of caveats out there because, like, what if, and maybe the judges, and I'm just covering my ass so I don't sound silly when I miss my predictions.
I mean, can you imagine if we'd been doing this last year and you'd have said, I think Ramy will be 5th. It would be like, whoa, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the other thing, because things can happen. People turn up on, people turn up off. There's so many different variables, and the Olympia is never ever. And there's, like I said, there's always people that, and we don't know who's going to be the most improved, and all these other factors. So it's. I
think the inconsistency thing is probably the most exciting part. Is like sometimes people just fucking whiff it, they really screw up. And you hate to see it because these guys they're nice guys and they've worked hard for this, but like as a jeering fan, it's like he screwed up and like he's gonna beat him because he was running his mouth, and it makes it interesting.
And then you hear that they carved up on hamburgers, they experimented, they tried something new, and then they're like, no, I just blew all my prep for the Olympia.
Always something. Lasix fish or whatever Chris Aceto said.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's not exactly, it's never, bodybuilding, as much as we'd like it to be, is not an exact science, and it never will be.
Never a dull moment over here, yeah.
Cool. Stuart, mate, this has been amazing, mate, and thank you so much for coming on and giving us this rundown.
Let's check real quick. You got everything recorded?
Did you press record? I got a thumbs up. I've got a feeling every time we meet, you're going to bring that up.
No, you know what? No. We're good now. We survived this one. So
well, you said look, I said, can we get you on again in a few weeks? And you went, I don't really want to have the same conversation. Why didn't you get me on before the Olympia? And it stuck it. And I thought right, I definitely got to get Stu on and this has been absolutely fantastic, mate. And I really appreciate it. And I'm glad the move's gone well. I'm glad that you've made these changes. It's going to help you to be a better athlete and a more fulfilled person and with everything you're doing in your career, mate. So well done to you.
Thank you, man. Yeah, just got to put one foot in front of the other now and trying to get my shit together for next year. So in the meantime, though, we got a good show to watch this weekend.
Yeah, and we'll do a preview. I don't think we can do a preview before the New York Pro, though, you and me.
Huh?
I don't think we can't because I think you might be a bit biased.
Yeah, that's understandable. I might be hitting a lot of shows next year, though, so you might not be able to talk to me for a
bit. Okay. Well, I'll get you on just for that, mate. It's
okay. I'll just bag on myself. I always do.
All right, then, mate. Well, like I said, we'll all be watching the live stream next week. So, this week by the time this comes out, and like I said, it's going to be a really exciting Olympia. And like I said, thank you so much for giving us your in-depth analysis. I really do appreciate it, mate.
Thank you for having me, man.
Okay, guys, welcome to MD Globe Muscle Season 5, Episode 53 of Hot News. Myself and look who's back in the studio.
Hi, guys.
It's a bit dark, so we haven't got the camera on her.
Yes.
That went flat. Right, okay, obviously we're actually, by the time this comes out, we'll be 2 days out from the Olympia, because it comes out on Wednesday. The Olympia pretty much starts on the Friday and the Saturday. So, Lauren, excited for the Olympia this year?
Absolutely, but really sad. I'm not going.
Yeah.
So you guys, I passed my exam, so big congratulations to me.
Oh, fuck.
But I failed it twice this year, so when I thought I had failed it for a third time, I was pretty much like, right, I'm not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere.
Yep, we ain't going
until I passed this, and I didn't know that I had passed it until just recently. So it's planning's a bit bad, but yes, excited for Olympia, and let's go next year.
And after we film this, what are we doing, Lauren? What are we doing in this very, very here studio?
We are filming Buff Bombshell.
Oh, God. A bit louder, darling.
Sorry.
Obviously for the Olympia preview special for the female class categories, because myself and Ron Harris on the Power Hour, as you've seen, we don't really cover the women's classes, but Lauren's back in the land of the living now. She's back training and back into it now because she's out of her office studying. So,
oh my gosh, you guys have no idea how long it's been.
I know, darling. Yes, I know. Right, okay. Well, we've got the Olympia, so let's talk about that.
Okay.
And also, I've got to say, suit's getting a bit tighter.
Yeah, you're looking much beefier. Giles is back at the gym.
Shirts are getting tighter. I've actually killed myself 5 days this week. Absolutely. This morning I was like, I think my sweet spot is really 4 days. I don't think it's 5, but I had committed to 5 weights, 5 cardio, and I did it, and I absolutely killed myself this week. And I was limping around the house today, wasn't it, after legs yesterday?
It was very good.
So what's this doing there? So computer's just gone off. Why is it doing that?
You just have to turn it on.
Okay, shit.
There you go.
Right, okay then. So it's Olympia. Wow, exciting. Do you know my first Olympia was in 2001? You were 9 years old.
I know, it's so weird.
You should have come with me. We'd have had a great time.
Well, I was thinking about it today because I didn't know if, again, I was going to be able to watch the Olympia if I was studying.
Oh, yeah.
And I've literally been watching them in a row since 2012.
2012?
Yes, because I caught onto the bodybuilding, and there was the UK BFF in Portsmouth.
Yeah.
And I
did that show in 2006.
The University of Portsmouth for my undergrad.
Yep.
And then basically the only year I never watched it was 2019 because I was studying. So
studying, Lauren, you've not mentioned that yet.
So I'm glad I can finally live again. It's good.
Right, okay, yes. So what was I talking about? You completely threw me there.
Olympia.
Oh, Olympia, yeah. 2001 was my first Olympia. That was the one with Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler. That was the first. But you know what? That wasn't actually the first proper clash between Jay Cutler and Ronnie Coleman. Everyone thinks it was. Because I know Jay was 8th the year before at the Olympia in 2000, and so he was nowhere near Ronnie. But it wasn't actually the 2001 Olympia where they were 1 and 2. It was at the British Grand Prix in Manchester, where we saw Jordan Peterson, the Apollo Theatre.
Okay, amazing.
When we pulled up to see Jordan Peterson last year, I was like, I recognise this place. And I saw the Apollo Theatre, and I was like, where do I know that from? Fuck, that's where I went to the British Grand Prix in 2000 and 2001. I didn't go to the 99 one. And it was actually because Jay dropped something like 14 pounds from that Olympia where he took 8th in 2000. And then he jumped up and he was second to Ronnie at that show. So it wasn't the first clash ever. It was actually in sunny Manchester, just over an hour away. So, and I was there and I took some fantastic pictures. And it was a great show, fantastic show. Front row seats there, courtesy of Kerry Kayes, who we had in the studio last year. So like I said, it's very exciting Olympia because there is no dominant champion. I'm not to say that Hadi couldn't win again. I keep flip-flopping. I keep going between. I think Hadi will win. I think Derek will be second, and I think third.
Nick Walker.
I thought I had Nick sixth last week, but I'm starting to think he might get a little bit higher. I'm starting to think that he might. I think that third place is going to be between Brandon Curry and Samson, but I think Nick might potentially upset there. I got Andrew Jacked in fifth. I did have Nick in sixth, but I think, it's like Samson could be anywhere from first to fifth. I think he's going to be third. But now I'm thinking Nick could be anywhere from third to sixth. So Brandon, I think he's going to be a bit of a wild card.
Let's see some photos.
Yeah, well, I'm going to come to Brandon's account because he posted an update this morning, so we're going to check that out. But to be honest, this is the kind of week where not really much is being posted. They're posting stuff from last year and stuff like that. But anyway, we had Stu Sutherland there, the fantastic guest. And I as we mentioned at the start of that interview, 5 months ago, we did do just about a fantastic hour-long interview with Stu. We had a technical issue. It didn't record. We lost it. So, and I said to him, can I get you on again in a few weeks' time? This was 5 months ago. And he said, I don't really want to have the same conversation again because it's not as organic. I appreciate that. So he said, why don't you get me on one before one of the big shows and I'll be like a bit of an analyst and we can go through the show. So that's exactly what you've just seen. That's exactly what we did. And I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And I hope I could get 45 minutes out of this. We went for an hour and 20.
It was fantastic.
He was good.
He was really good.
He's good, isn't he? Very engaging. And also, have you noticed, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but we had a broadband engineer come round in the week, and he's basically sped us up by 5 times.
Thank God.
So because we were running off a mobile 4G hotspot last week, and that's why the Milos thing was a little bit. Even the audio was starting to go a little bit, but it was still okay. Oh, that was a fantastic episode last week, by the way. Milos. Oh, Milos is Milos always gives gold though. I mean, it's like I sometimes just sit there thinking, people are gonna love this. They're gonna love this. He's gonna get views. He's full of, and he's never short of anything to say. One of the reasons I love Milos. When we're not fighting. No, I think that we're all done with that now. We're just very passionate bodybuilding fans and we have our own opinions and we like to try and catch each other out to keep each other on our toes. That's why we argue. So anyway, so quickly, I will want to give some obviously acknowledgement to Beef Stu, Stu Sutherland there. Obviously, was second at the New York Pro. It wasn't his pro debut. We actually competed the year before. But it was just literally like right after he turned pro at the USA. So we don't really kind of count that one because this was what he feels was his first proper pro show. Because this is after a first proper off season. So here he was at the New York Pro. Lawrence, see what I mean about the hair?
Yeah, that's fantastic hair.
Do you think he looked, okay, what do you think, when he came up on the screen, do you think he looked better with the hair like that or like that?
That's hard to say just because I saw him for the first time with the big hair. And he is right. It does add more height onto him, so he looks just that extra bit, I guess more...
more height.
More tall.
What's these scratches on his chest? He's got little scars on his chest. Are they stretch marks?
I don't know.
I think they're stretch marks where he's made so many gains.
Maybe.
Yeah, I got stretch marks all on the inside of mine when I was 15.
I don't know. I think his normal hair now would also look really good.
Yeah, I think that's kind of his trademark now, isn't it? Because everyone thought he was going to shave it off when it came to the show, and he didn't. He kept it, and everyone kind of just loved him for it. So... yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, so I think now he's made the move now to, was it New Washington? Was it New Washington, he said?
Northwest, so near Washington.
No, Washington's bloody East Coast.
Okay, I don't know where the geography of the USA.
It's New Washington on the Northwest.
Northwest,
yes, it's literally like the distance from here to bloody Cyprus. So it's the other end of the country. So he's moved from Nevada because, like I said, he didn't like the desert, he didn't like the heat, as he said in the interview. It was an interview / review. But so let's have a look at the I want to see the update he posted the day. Which was the one he posted? I'm not seeing it. Was it this one? Here he is. From early this week. Training has been flying for a few weeks now, but I hit a wall last night. Everything felt stiff. Joints felt creaky. Weights felt heavy. Digestion has been worse. Just felt crappy all of a sudden. Time for a deload. So, but he's looking pretty chunky there, like. Yeah, I think he's one to watch next year. I think he could be, could we, do you think he could be as good as Nick Walker maybe one day, a couple of years? He's 26 now.
Well, his age is definitely in his favor.
He's got the mass.
So he can add more, like you said, muscle maturity onto his frame.
Yeah. I mean,
he looks great, and I definitely think he's one to watch.
He's a monster, isn't he? I like his physique. I like these kind of thick, chunky physiques. Do you know what I mean? And he's a cool guy as well, as you saw. And he was very giving with his time. And he was always very, very, very pleasant to message back and forth with. So I think I think he's been one of the most exciting newcomers to the sport this year. Oh God, he really did have a quite extreme haircut there, didn't he? Wow. So I think he will grow back. Do you think he look cool with a beard? Remember when Luke Sando got his beard and he looked so much cooler?
I don't know. I think he can do a really good before and after with his hair now.
I could see him with like a really, really like cool shape, like goatee beard, like trimmed into a. I think he'd look like someone like a Viking or something, like some sort of like a something out of the Lord of the Rings or something, like one of these big monsters, you know.
An orc. No, what's that?
I don't want to say dwarf because he's quite tall. He's like 5'7". But yeah, like a really, sort of. I don't know what I'm saying. Right. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, so big thank you there to Stu Sutherland for coming on the show, giving us all his predictions. I really do appreciate it. And like I said, apologies for accidentally not recording for whatever reason. I can't remember now. This was when he did the Cali Pro. I think was he third or fourth here?
Nice.
I think he was third or fourth. Yeah, that was the second show he did. And dyes his hair.
Maybe. Looks great.
It looks really black, doesn't it? Looks really black.
Maybe he does it.
Okay. Yeah, well, maybe you could turn up with some sort of other. I said, why don't you just turn up to a show every single time with a completely different hairstyle? Remember when Jay came in with the hair flick in 2009? That looked cool, and then he kept it for years. He kept, with the hair flick.
Yes, I know the hair
flick. What's that film with
Oh, gross! Yeah, I know. Mary.
She goes, yeah, something about Mary.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when Jay Cutler came into the Olympia with the something about Mary haircut, I think. I don't know why I'm saying this, but I think I can honestly see Beef Sutherland.
No.
Beef Sutherland. Stu Beef.
Beef Stu.
Stu Sutherland. That's his name. Stuart Sutherland. I could definitely see him with a different hairstyle. I think he should troll us. And if he does 5 shows next year, he should come in with a completely different hairstyle. Even start wearing wigs, maybe.
No.
Yeah. No. Okay. Hair extensions. You could borrow yours. Right. Okay, that's where let's get into the Olympia now, because that's what we're really here for. So yeah, Brandon Curry posted this today, and yeah, let's have a look. Okay, get us full screen now. Here we are. Love Brandon. Love his physique. Yeah, I think it's game week already. Time waits for no man. This was my last shoulder workout before settling down here in Orlando.
Oh, he looks great.
So I think is this where he's from, like in Nashville? Maybe now he's dry, because I think he went from, last week he went from, was it Dubai or Kuwait he's in? Kuwait to back home to Nashville to see his family, and now he's heading down to Orlando, obviously, because it's the Olympia. So yeah, it looks good. And do you know what I like? Come on, Lauren, you got to guess what I like.
Stripy shoulders.
Yes, well done. I swear to God, I didn't prep her for this. I swear to God. I just love it because he's got such crazy shoulders, and you get the guys with the big shoulders because they're big and bloated. But Brandon, as you can see, midsection looks good as well. I mean, the midsection always looks good on Brandon. I've got a feeling. I mean, I think they're aiming for the 2019 Arnold fullness with the 2020 Olympic conditioning. Now, I think if he pulls water and everything and the tan goes on and he's properly pumped up and everything, I think we're going to see, potentially we could see an all-time best version of Brandon this year. I think he's the one that everyone is not counting out. Everyone is counting out, sorry.
I could see that.
Yeah, I think people are really underestimated him. Because think about it, he's been first, second, and he kind of blew the condition last year, let's be honest. And he dropped to 4th, and only 4th. So I just think... I think people have already started to write him off, and I think that's absolute madness because I love Brandon, and I think look, he just looks absolutely incredible. The legs look good as well. Legs look really good. With Brandon, there's a little bit of weakness from the back. The side, his legs are incredible. The front, they look absolutely tremendous here. I can't see any problems with that. So let's see what he brings. Where's the update I really liked? Where's the one I liked? Let's have a look at this one. There's some back shots. See, the hamstrings look good. When he flexes them now, watch this. There they are. Look at that. See? Glutes and the hams look good there. Yeah, looks good. Let's have a look at this other video. We've seen this one anyway, but I want to show it again. Yeah, that's the one. He looks really good here. Really good. Looks nice. Brandon always looks good. Look at the ham drop.
I was just gonna
Look at it. It's crazy, isn't it, Lauren? Absolutely insane.
It looks like a really tasty chicken thigh. You know, like that's what a chicken drumstick.
Chicken drumstick, yeah, with lots of meat on it. Not like those tiny little chicken quarters you get at Nando's sometimes, you know, when you get the halal ones.
He looks really good.
Yeah, stripy delts, we like that. Midsection looks good. Everything looks good to me. I can't see him dropping out the top 5 this year. I just can't see it happening. I think he'll beat Andrew. I think he'll still beat Nick. I think he'll beat Nick because Nick beat him last year at the Olympia, don't forget. So it's going to be close. It's going to be close.
I've definitely got Brendan in my top 5.
Yeah.
But I need to see more photos just of the other guys before I tell you who I think.
And thing is, don't forget, we've got guys like Crizzo and, you know, coming up fast and... You know, Hunter's, you know, is going to be, they think, you know, promising to bring his best ever. So I think, you know, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting. So, right, let's quickly go to, this is what I like. This is, I mean, come on, Lauren, come on. I mean, obviously he's been completely dressed head to toe by Brandy.
He's such a gentleman.
You know, because Brandy's basically said, like, wear that, darling, you know, because when he won the Olympia, it was, you know, he wanted to represent the title well. And he's always been a smart, you know, cool guy and stuff. But I think Brandy said, right, we really need to kind of, you know, you really need to look like a superstar, not just a Mr. Olympia. We want you to look like this, you know. And I thought that was a really, really, really a good move, a smart move. I mean, I've never seen Hadi in a suit. I mean, Rami, you only saw him in a suit at the press conference. I mean, I've seen Brandon dressed like this a few times. And I really like that. I really respect that.
I do too. I do really like it when they have really good representatives for each division. I don't expect. And
I think he's had his teeth whitened as well, and he's got the glasses. And look at the. I mean, I actually asked him once. I said, "How did you get your beard so well trimmed?" Like literally, I've got a video on my phone when he won the morning after he won the Arnold Classic in Columbus, and I said, Brad, we've done a selfie video, you know. I said, Brandon, I said, how do you? He says, I'll show you, Giles. I'll show you. Don't worry. I'll show you my tips, you know, on how to do that. So, but yeah, he looks awesome. Love Brandon. Did a tour with him in 2020. That's how I met you, wasn't it, dear?
That is true. That's how we met.
Yes. Yeah. We have to. Will he be best man? Do you think? One day, maybe.
Maybe.
So a lot of ifs and buts there. Right. Okay. I'm making a lot of assumptions there. Right. So Brandon's going to be best man, and Lauren's going to marry me. So there you go. Anyway, right. I can't get enough of the stripes, Lauren. I've got to be honest.
He's got very good stripy shoulders.
The thing is, it'd be so easy just to go. Oh, I'm just going to put my stuff in here.
He's got lovely proportions. Actually.
But Lauren, he could be like in his room in Q8, and you think, oh, I can't be asked to do it in my glute. I'll just do it here because I'm, you know, all the other guys are. It's easy to do. He's not, and I really respect that.
Wait, hang on. You can either put it in the shoulder or the glute.
You know what I'm talking about.
No, but I know what you mean. But
yeah, a lot of guys are jabbing their shoulders. Hadi, bloody Rami. Why do you think Rami's got those big coat hanger shoulders?
Okay.
Hadi wouldn't have won the Olympia if he'd have brought the delts that he brought in 2021. I'm telling you that now. He would not have won. Derek would have won last year. So I think Hani Rambod helped him to address that and say, stop shooting your shoulders. Because at one time he turned up at the pre-judging, you could see points on each one.
I remember.
You know, and then people, really and all the fans start complaining. He got fourth. And it's like, look, if I was a judge and I had him in second, I would knock him down a place or two for that. It needs to be addressed. So Brandon, you are leading the way with stripy delts and the thing is, obviously, I've seen him train shoulders. He trained shoulders at Gemini. He trained with Derek. And I tell you what, and he said it was 60% of his normal training intensity. And I tell you what, that was a savage workout because I stood there when I was filming it with my phone. I was watching. I couldn't believe the intensity, the weight.
Do you still have that video?
Yeah, I've got it on my phone. I've sent them to Derek.
Can I have one?
Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you later.
Okay, sorry guys.
So as a treat. So anyway. Right, okay. So yeah, he's fully embracing the grey beard there like that. Let's have a look at this one. Look at his back. Oh, I don't see the supplement stuff.
Oh.
Cool. Yeah, it looks good.
Oh, that's new.
Good. Oh, wow. It's a very full range of motion.
I have never seen anyone use it like that
before. The rear delt machine at the Legends today? Mm-hmm. The pads were being removed.
Oh.
Being fixed. So I was like, oh, no, what am I going to do for rear delts? So I did the pec deck, the roller pec deck, when you put it like that.
Yes.
And you put your arms in like that, and then you bring it out like that. I tell you what, I got and then you hold each rep at the top. But you only come back so far really slow, so you keep the tension on it. I did 4 sets of like 10 to 12, and I tell you what, Really good feel on it. Really good feel. Even hit my side delts a little bit as well. But I felt it mostly in my rear delts. I felt it really good. So, yeah. We used to do dumbbells back in the day.
Nice.
A rear delt machine, was a real luxury. When I moved to Newcastle in 2000, I was like, wow, gyms have got rear delt machines. You don't know how lucky you are, you guys, I tell you.
I only started using a rear delt machine when I was living here. I never had one on
Really?
I never had one on the island. And
Wow.
I don't remember, or I never used it because I didn't know what that machine was for.
Right.
I've learned a lot.
You have
since
learned
then.
a lot. Okay, right, I'm going to go to Bodybuilders Without Borders because obviously he's got all the hookups. It's mostly he's been posting about some of the pro qualifiers all around the world at the moment. But really, I just want to kind of focus on the Olympia. So we're going to have to go a little bit down. Can you believe this guy's only one? Okay, Lauren, this guy here. Mm-hmm. How much do you think this guy weighs?
I'm going to say 220.
157.
No, you lie.
Yeah, look. Look.
How tall is he?
He's a men's physique.
Oh.
Jeremy Potvin. Look, 157.2 yesterday. 157 makes you look 200 pounds. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yes.
See, that's the thing about proportions, and it can. If you have a small waist and you've got a big chest, big flaring chest like he's got, it can just make you look so much. I think men's physique are getting too big.
I love men's physique.
And I tell you what, I met him and he was a bit of a nightmare. But I tell you what, I am kind of rooting for Jeremy Buendia.
Oh, I'm actually, he was the first men's physique guy that I ever saw win, I bought the ebook.
Did you?
Back in like 2016. I wanted to know all about how to train like a guy. I never trained like a guy, but I was such a fangirl, you guys. It was the most amazing thing. I wonder if he still got it.
You're such a consumer.
I am. I totally bought into the ebook.
You keep these pros in like, in bloody whatever they need to live off. But
Well, he taught me about macros.
Macros. Oh God!
And he taught me
about macros.
No, but it was the first ebook that I had that showed me a split for a guy's workout back in 2016, 2017.
Okay. We're talking about men's physique, babe.
No, but it was good. It was good for me to learn.
All right. Okay, I'll let you off. Just this once. Right, okay then. This is all amateur stuff. I don't want to see the amateur stuff. It's Olympia this week. This guy actually, I'm going to completely contradict myself here, but this guy really stood out apart from the old shiny delt there. That's not stripy, if you know what I mean. But look at this guy for a future pro, man. I mean, this, he's got his pro card at the Amateur Olympia in Italy. So it's one of Barbara's shows. It's a rip pec. Looks like a rip pec. Very, very mildly rip pec. But look at the calves. I mean, there's a guy. I mean, obviously, the condition's not bang on, but I mean, he's turned pro now, so we'll expect some, some improvements. It'll be interesting to see what this guy does the next couple of years. Stanimir Itov. Is he Russian? Let's have a look at one more photo, and I'll quickly.
Nice back.
Yeah, it's there, isn't it? Everything's there. I think there's a bit of a pec tear going on there. So.
Everything is there, and he just refines it, like you say, and wonder what he'll do next.
Yeah, I mean, the conditioning isn't like anywhere near what it needs to be. But I quickly want to get his name. Hang on, let's get his name. Stanimir Itov. So it'll be interesting to see what this guy does in the next couple of years. Like I said, just one guy that literally just caught my eye on the old Instagram. There's no Olympia stuff. Come on, Daniel. It looks like Nathan Diasha.
That is Nathan, isn't it?
No, it's not Nathan.
Oh.
It's Nathan's stunt double. Maybe you can do the Olympia for him. Well, also, why is Nathan... Hang on, we'll come to that in a bit. Maybe you could sneak in. So, do you want to... No, it would never happen, would it? Competitors...
No. Sneak in?
In the amateurs, like someone going under somebody else's name to get a pro card.
Oh my God, don't even get me started.
That would never...
That irritates me so much.
Yeah, I'm just saying, could it happen in the amateurs? Could somebody go and get who's a pro... I don't know, from another country.
No, because you're listed on as a pro, and then you have to.
You could say my name's Nathan Diasha, and I want to do the Olympia.
No, because they have to look at ID.
Okay. Oh. Shit. Okay, it's just an option.
I do think the amateur league has got. Sorry, just to bring a point back. I do think the amateur league has got a lot better because now when you go to certain shows, you have to do. I think they get a certificate or something when you're at a regional show, and then you can take that overseas. Whatever.
Okay, it was a stupid idea. Forget it. Okay, right. Okay, then quickly. Stan, what am I talking about? Justin Shire there. Looking forward to seeing him make his pro debut. I mean, obviously, he won his pro debut this year. I've completely forgotten the show he won, actually. What was the show he won? I can't remember. It was Chicago, was it? Is it Chicago? I think it was Chicago. Yeah, Chicago, because Tampa was won by Hunter, and then Texas was won by Andrew Jack, and I think Justin Shire won Chicago in his pro debut. So, and wasn't John De La Rosa second? That's what my memory's telling me. But I don't think he's going to be one of the guys that might place top 15. I don't know. Maybe he might make top 15. But like I said, it's been a fantastic. He only turned pro in 21 at the Nationals. And I think he's a guy with really like a stripy delts. Look at that. Stripy delt porn. Look at that. Way. Look at that. So yeah, but I think a couple of years. I think he needs a couple more years, and I think he's going to be something really, really special. Yeah, sorry, I got completely carried away when I see stripy delts. So what else? Oh, Keon. A lot of people think Keon could push Sean Clarida this year. I don't know about that. I think he could be second or third. I think Andrew Calderon's still going to be second. I think he'll move up from sixth to... I think he's going to be at least third, fourth. Many people think he can win it. I don't think he's going to beat Sean Clarida this year. Because he's still only around about the 205, 206 limit. So he's still got a few pounds, do you know what I mean? So he's not someone who would struggle to make weight or have to lose muscle. Because the thing is, he's going to have to get freakier if he wants to try and take out the champ like Sean Clarida, unless Sean Clarida retires. Because Sean Clarida is only going to get bigger and freakier from here.
Sean's not going to retire.
Well, he's done... He's 41 now.
I don't 40, think he will. He'll go for 40. As long... I think he's one of those that's going to go for as long as he can.
Well, you think he'd be like a Ronnie and will go for like 8 212 Olympia titles?
Yeah, I do.
Thing is, I mean, the record with Flex Lewis is 7. So do you think he'll try and just go for the record of 212 wins?
Yeah, he has it in him.
Yeah,
he's got that fire. But Keon looks great. But I do think he'll be somewhere in the region of fourth to third. Yeah, I think third, fourth. Because the thing is, people aren't really talking about Angel Calderon. You've got Kerith, you've got Oleg, you've got a lot of other new guys as well. So the standard's going to be very, very high. But do you think not a lot of people are talking about Angel? Because he's international. Like for me, some of the international athletes don't get as promoted because when you're in the US, it's all American and it's very, And
he doesn't speak English.
Exactly.
So yeah, but he's got Emilio behind him as well. So because Emilio obviously promotes his athletes really, really well over Emilio Martinez. I think nearly all of the European promoters are doing very, very well. They're really building. I mean, I've been out to Hungary, I've been to Prague, I've been to Romania. And, Italy, Spain, a lot of these European promoters are doing it. Portugal, you've been to Portugal. I mean, they're doing an absolutely incredible job of building, and not just building the shows and building the events and bringing in the new talent, but also promoting the athletes they have, and really sort of promoting them to the world, because, so I think, what was my point? I completely forgot. So anyway, I'll just get distracted by what I look at. Mike Summerfield, there's another guy in the Classic that could do very well. He was 5th place last year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so had him on Global last year, wasn't it? Remember?
Yes,
I really enjoyed that interview, actually. Really interview. He was bugger to get hold of.
Nice quad sweep.
He's your favourite, yeah.
Oh. Let's see Breon. Yay!
Breon.
I love his smile.
Yeah, but I tell you what though, because obviously the Classic now he got the extra few pounds. I think he said he was going to 212, and now he's gone back to Classic. Now they've added the weight, so he can be. I think. So I'm sure it's like 6. I'm sure Wesley or Laszlo said that Breon, with his height and his weight, can be 6 pounds heavier than he was. So that's going to make a big difference, because Breon really had to struggle to make Classic. So that meant he was losing muscle to do Classic. So now, obviously, they've upped the weight. He said, "Well, I'm staying with Classic," because I think he'd have got smoked in 212.
I think
he'd have got smoked.
It's so nice that they've done this, and I think this is the right decision. I think for him in Classic,
for him, yeah, but not overall. Yeah, but Wesley, the taller guys, I don't understand the ratio, because the taller guys get like 1 pound or 2 pounds. How does that work? How does a shorter guy get more weight than a taller guy?
I don't know. I need to do the math.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
Well, to me, that doesn't make sense. I don't think that seems fair. So, because if you're taller, then surely you should be allowed more because you've got a bigger frame. Like if he's allowed 6 pounds extra for his height, then surely a guy like Wesley at 6 foot should be allowed 10 pound. But they're not. It's less. I don't understand why it goes down. I'll have to figure it out. I haven't done really much. I do follow Classic a lot, but it's not this particular thing I haven't really looked into. So, but he looks good, and I tell you what, you can see he's obviously going to be becoming a lot better this year. That right leg, has he injured it?
It looks a little bit weak. It does, but I tell you what, I'm excited to see Breon back on stage in Classic. I love Breon. He's one of my favorites.
I tell you what, one of the most overriding memories I've got of the 2017 Olympia was I remember being right at the back of the thing. I think I'd been to the bathroom or something. I was coming back in, And I remember seeing him, and I remember seeing, like, all that way away, the separation in his hamstrings. He was so, I couldn't believe, he looked like he was carved out of stone. 2017 Olympia, go check it out. Breon Ainsley. He looked absolutely phenomenal. I think he won that one, didn't he?
2016, 2017.
Yeah, so and then obviously 18, 19, 20, 21 at Bumstead. Yeah, so yes, he won it. So let's see what he brings. I mean, can he get, can he really, really push Bumstead? And the thing is, the classic Olympia this year, you've got Urs, you've got Ramon, you've got Chris, you've got Summerfield, you've got Laszlo, you've got Wesley, you've got, I can't remember the name of the other guy. But there's so many good guys. I mean, I probably missed out like a dozen fantastic Michael De Bull. Do you know what I mean? There's some really good classic names. Breon, it's gonna be incredible. I think this. I know there's, it's still 40 guys this year. There was 59 last year, but regardless, it's gonna be ultra competitive.
And this year we also have the top 3.
Yes.
Rule.
Yes, of course.
Which I think is actually a good rule because in the Olympics, you don't get a 4th and a 5th podium. So.
Very good point. Very good point. Was it you who made that point or somebody else?
It was me.
Was it? Okay.
Yes.
I thought it was somebody else. Okay, there's Regan. This is the day after Flex Week, Italy. So this is not before the Olympia. So this is not an indication of how Regan will look at the Olympia. I've got no idea how Regan's going to do at the Olympia. Personally, I'd be surprised if he made top 10. I would. I think he's still got a lot of improvements he needs to make. But quickly, I want to go to this guy because this guy really caught my eye. And to be honest, this is one of the reasons why I do actually really, really like Classic. Look at this guy's physique.
It's beautiful.
Hang on, look at this. Look at that. Hang on, squeeze it in a bit there. Ooh, there we go. Look at that. See, you just don't get that with the really big freaky guys. The smaller guys with the crazy condition and separation, they can bring this kind of physique, this kind of look.
I think classic posing is probably the hardest posing,
Look at that. That's beautiful.
I like how everything is just so detailed. It's beautiful.
And he knows how to present his physique. Because, I mean, that guy could be hitting normal poses like that. And you'd be like,
wow.
Yeah. I mean, okay, frontal bicep, yeah, looks good. But you wouldn't think, like you wouldn't go wow like you did at those other more artistic shots. See, this is why Flex Wheeler, I think, never won the Olympia. Because the best poses he looked in, the poses he looked best in was these kinds of shots. Sorry, not those kinds of shots. The floor poses. The overhead, like Labrada shots. That famous one for the 93 Arnold Classic where he's kneeling and he's doing that in the back, and it just, you don't get judged on that, That's why Dorian Yates always won, because his physique looked its best when he hit the compulsories. So this guy looks great. So he's always qualified at a pro show.
I love it. But he looks fantastic.
Yeah, what a great physique. Yeah, fantastic. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he makes an impact at the Olympia. I don't know, but like I said, he certainly caught my eye, and there's so many classic guys out at the moment. I quickly want to look at Tonio. This is Tonio Burton. That obviously this is the guy that beat Stu at the New York Pro early on the year, and won the New York Pro, arguably the 3rd biggest pro show on the planet. So I wouldn't be shocked if he makes top 10. The thing is, the front shots. Let's see if he's the back shots. Have a look at the back shots. Right, Lauren, wait till you. Oh, his chest looks a bit smaller, doesn't it? What's happening there?
Maybe it's just the way he's posing.
Yeah,
maybe it's not
he looks a bit delt dominant there, doesn't he? Delt dominant. Right, okay then. A riddle bicep. To be honest, that is not even as good as his riddle bicep is. I know that's a good shot and he looks great, but I tell you what, when you see him on stage and he's under those lights, that riddle bicep looks absolutely freaking sensational. So, there's a guy potentially could be top 10. But, so all the best to Tonio Burton there. Hopefully we can get you on Global. So that's all I want to see on there. Let's quickly go to the other front runner. This is the guy you think will win the Olympia, Lauren. Derek Lunsford. I think this is the video I want. Because everyone's worried about what is like his chest and his shoulders and his arms, because that's what he kind of like. People feel that like had he really kind of closed the gap on and kicked his ass on. But he's obviously. I mean, he would have been working like crazy this year to bring up those body parts. With Hadi Rambod, his coach. So come on, I want to hear you talking. I want to see you posing or training. So there he is. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, looks good there. Looks good. Are you seeing? I don't know. Well, I suppose we'll know when he hits the stage of how much his improvements.
I wish we had a machine like that.
I've never done them. Yeah. He looks awesome, and he's been working hard all year. I've been following his progress all year with Derek Lunsford.
Oh my God.
Of course, I would not be shocked if Derek won. I wouldn't be shocked if Derek won.
To me, I do have him in like a
first place. I just think he's going to struggle with Hadi. I think he's going to struggle with Hadi again. I really, really do. So let's quick look at some pictures. He's not giving too much away. It's just like I said, tank top shots. But I think that's wise at this moment. I don't really want to see too much. Like I said, I was glad that he got the special invite last year because I didn't want to see him the big reveal for when he went from 212 to open. So that's pretty much what I want to see on there. Let's quickly go to the champ, the current Mr. Olympia, and defending Mr. Olympia. We have Hadi Choopan. Apparently it's Chopan. Milos said last week. He said no, it's been confirmed. His name is Chopan, not Chupan. So we've got to call him Hadi Chopan. So we've got to get used to that now. Chopan. So Bob, if you announce him as the Mr. and two-time Mr. Olympia, don't call him Chupan. Call him Chopan.
Hadi
Chopan. All those Iranian fans might come after you, mate, because they're pretty savage. So this is one of the videos he's posted. I mean, he's a monster, isn't he?
He's very thick.
See, this is what I think Derek hasn't quite. Has Derek got that level of density yet? I don't know. I mean, it would be interesting to see what he's done in the last year because Derek may have caught up in terms of the density, and I tell you what, it could come down to the wire between these two. But and for people who think Hadi's not going to make top 3, I think I think that's just ridiculous because Hani Rambod will be with these guys 24/7, making sure that doesn't happen, making sure they come in as their absolute best. So there's not much really on there apart from, like I said, these pictures obviously he's reminding people that he is the champ. And it's absolutely fantastic. 5.2 million followers. Wow. Okay, now I want to know. Like I said, I've been speaking to Nathan Diasher this week. It does look like Nathan Diasher will not be at this year's Olympia, but it looks like he's still prepping. And he told me he's not doing Romania and he's not doing Prague. So look, it looks pretty dry and shredded there, doesn't he, Lauren? Look at that. Look.
Yeah, he's got an impressive physique.
Yeah, but he's still prepping. What's he prepping for?
Maybe he is prepping for a show. Plans change.
Well, he told me. He says because I kind of put him in contact with this lawyer. And so he's paid her quite a lot of money, and she says that she can help him get to the Arnold Classic in March.
Good. But she needs time to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's 3-4 months. But obviously she can't do it in a week for the Olympia next week. No. It's not going to happen. But he said he's going to be at the Arnold UK as well, and Samson said he's doing that one as well.
Okay.
So, and obviously, who knows? The 3-4 months of training with Nathan. Like I said, he's got the eye of the tiger back now. He's won 2 shows. Some people think it should have been 3, but So who's to say? I think now he's got with his coach. I think he's really, really motivated, and I think he's really loving it again. And I think he sees. I think there's a big prize money at the Arnold and the Arnold UK as well. So, but it looks to me like he's still prepping. I've got a feeling he might show up at Romania.
Well, if he does,
I think he should.
Wouldn't be surprised, but I think this is a good opportunity for him to get that, or to at least secure that if he wins. Yeah. And then if this does sort out by March, and then.
So this is so it was 254 here. Well, I mean, when was this? This was last. Hang on, when was this? Does it say? Does it say? When does it say? Oh, 1 day ago. This was yesterday. He posted this. So this was posted yesterday. So it looks to me like he's still prepping. I've got a feeling. He said he's not doing Prague. I've got a feeling he's going to show up to Romania.
Or maybe Prague.
Prague, yeah, possibly.
He looks good. He could do both.
He does. Yeah, he could. He could win both. I mean, you have to go up against Krizo at the Prague, so that'd be a good matchup. In Romania, he'll be going up against Beruz.
Well, will Krizo do Prague after the Olympia?
He is. He's one of the team members. I've spoke to them. Yeah. Well, I'm doing the live stream, aren't I?
Oh. Yeah. Oh, Giles is doing the live stream.
Yeah. Well, we haven't posted the announcement yet, so I'm just going to keep that.
Sorry.
We'll try and keep that under wraps for now, but no, I mentioned it last week as well, Laura. Sorry, don't worry about it. But yeah, but Nathan looks to me like he's still prepping. He's still dieting. So, and if he knows he's not getting to the Olympia, then that tells me he is definitely going to do. Maybe he'll do Japan because there's an open show in Japan as well after the Olympia.
That'd be amazing.
I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him do all 3. I'd love to see him do Romania, Japan, Prague, because he could win all 3 potentially. I mean, he'll have Beruz, he'll have Krizo, and it's going to be really exciting as well. Actually, I think November's going to be a really good month for bodybuilding. Right after the Olympia, it's going to be. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, Nathan, go do those shows, mate. Go pick yourself up some prize money. Like I said, he won 16 pro wins. You're at was he 11 now? 11?
I don't know, but
he's at 11 now. So he could potentially get another 3.
And also, if he gets the Arnold, he might have. Actually, I'm not going to say.
What?
No, because if he gets the Arnold, there's also I'm not going to say it.
Come on, say it. Okay. I won't push you. Right, okay. Well, like I said, I speak to Nathan frequently, but I haven't actually asked him like outright exactly what is going on, mate, because he said that the Olympia's out, but looks like the Arnold Classic in March is looking good. So, like I said, I don't know the ins and outs. I didn't really want to pry. I don't want to put him on the spot or make him feel like, feel awkward. But, yeah. And also, right, okay, now quickly, I want to go to, because obviously we have this. Got the latest issue of MD with the greatest of all time, Ronnie Coleman, 8-time Mr. Olympia. And I really, really enjoyed writing the feature on Ronnie here. And I messaged Ronnie and I said, mate, have you read it yet? And he said, no, I haven't received my copy yet. Here we are. So here we are. This is written by myself. This is an 8-page article. And just talking about why Ronnie's just the greatest.
The greatest.
So, and I went into great detail. I put some personal stories in there. I talked about like the dream Olympia, like taking, like, say, Phil Heath 2011, Jay Cutler 2009, Dorian 93, and putting them all in like a call out with Ronnie from 2003, who wins. And guess what I said? Don't tell me. Don't say. And so anyway, there's some other cool stuff in there. Anyway, so obviously I woke up this morning and on Ronnie's Instagram, he'd posted the front cover. And look here, right at the end, it's more than an honor for me. I'm actually speechless. Great job, Giles Thomas, on that wonderful article. You're the best, my friend. Love you much, bro. Yeah, buddy. Drop the mic.
Yeah, buddy.
I've got to be honest, Lauren, that made my day.
Yeah.
Made my day. So, yeah, love you too, Ronnie. Big bro. Brother from another mother. So, that's it, really. That's it. So, anyway, like I said, check out the latest issue of MD. And please stay tuned to MD all week, because Ron Harris will be out there in Orlando on location with Jose Raymond. And I believe Mike Cox is going to be jumping in on the wrap-ups as well. He's got a fantastic eye. But please stay tuned to MD all literally right through till Sunday. We're going to be constantly posting content live. Obviously we've got, boots on the ground at the show. And it's going to be absolutely incredible. And also look out for later today, the Buff Bombshell episode done by Lauren Lotter, a preview for the female categories. And that's it, Lauren.
Thank you for listening and watching.
Thank you for listening. Yes, right. Okay then, guys. Well, like I said, this is Olympia week. This is the most exciting week in the year, really, for bodybuilding fans. So, like I said, just please get that live stream, because you will not be disappointed. It's going to be an Olympia for the ages. I just can't wait. I can't wait. Right, okay then, guys. As always, big thank you to Lauren Lotter for giving me a hand there. Drinking a squash.
No problem.
Okay, guys. And also, please do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And that is it. Well, as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. And ladies and gentlemen, with Lauren Lotter in the house, we are out.